Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and this is a podcast called Chatting in Cars. It's where I talk about random topics while I'm driving. And it's the Easter weekend, so of course I've been eating shit for a week. Hence the reason for the topic of this podcast, this episode. It's going to be a long trip, I'm afraid. I'm currently driving to my parents' farm, which from my house is 2 hours away, so this is actually a short one. I'm driving from my brother's house, so it shouldn't be too bad. I've been given my annual sack of Eastery sugar, so I'm going to be eating that while I chat. So if you don't like hearing people eat, I don't think you could hear me chew. It bugs me when people chew and you can hear it, because it's like nauseating. There's a name for it, but I can't remember what it's called. Oh my god, a U. Y-E-W. But if you're Australian, you know what a U is. Yee, mate. Bogans. But yeah, I've been given my sack of sugar, so I'm going to be eating it for the next hour and a half or so from my brother's house to my mum's house. I'm hoping you're having a fantastic Easter. That car, in the last episode I was talking about a car that was on the verge of my brother's house. It is my dad's car. He was not there. It's like, this is a constant got to verify what's going on thing. So we were lucky there. It's just that my brother's borrowed the car. So I'm like, because his Jeep has broken. Strangely, this is meant to be one of the most fixable cars, the Jeep, and yet it keeps fucking up. So I don't know if that's something in that. But yeah, it's pretty old. So anyway, so that was like a annoyance gone, so now we can just cruise on and chill. I don't know where this discussion is going. I've chosen the topic of just Easter break because, you know, I could grab on about anything. At this point, it's just white noise in your ears if you do listen to it, so let's go with that. I'm hoping I don't hit the heavy amount of traffic that always heads down south from the city over the holidays, because I could just really do without traffic jams. Okay, so talking about Easter, I mean, like, what would you like to do on Easter? I mean, most people go out and deal with. I don't deal with. Some people who come from good families go out and socialize with their families, I would assume. They go out and do fun things. I don't know if they're actually dealing with their family so much as wanting to actually be around them. So, you know, you got to give them credit where credit's due. I wish I had that kind of relationship, but, you know, you just don't. Right? A large chunk of people don't have that relationship where they can just hang out with their family and it's fine. I can hang out with my siblings, but as soon as my parents turn up, it's a different dynamic, and it's like, you can't relax. I don't know if that's anyone else facing the same shit. Ooh, someone doesn't know how to indicate. But yeah, it just creates a whole different scenario, so, you know. That's why I don't like doing family dinners. I hate family dinners. I do. On occasion, like if one of my siblings comes over from the UK, or you know, it's someone's big birthday. Actually, we don't even do birthdays. If it's something big, like an anniversary or something, which we used to do, which we don't do now. One of my either my siblings or my dad usually says, "We're having a big dinner, you have to come." And I'm like, I hate dinners. I hate restaurants to begin with, for a start. Turn it to life. I'm a fat kid. I was a fat kid. But I was good at it. But you know, you feel compelled to turn up, and you don't really want to. There's a lot of pressure on you, and I don't like restaurants. So it becomes this unpleasant experience, and you know, social compulsion. There's a lot of forced formality there, and you can't be your authentic self. So I don't shit on anyone who doesn't want to go out for family get-togethers. It's like, I can understand where you're coming from. You know, there's an ongoing joke about getting together for the Christmas and the holidays, and Americans do Thanksgiving and stuff like that. But the ongoing joke is you don't want to hang out with your own family. and apparently it's naughty if you don't turn up. I can understand why you don't want to turn up. I mean, anyone who I end up with in a relationship, you're never going to have to meet my family if you don't want to. So I don't want to fucking hang out with them. But, you know, there is a stigma attached to not wanting to be with your nearest and dearest. I don't fucking don't want to, but, you know, it's a different dynamic. I'm assuming that they came from this nice, pleasant place where, you know, like the adults treated you nicely. And you are a bit of a dick if you ignore them. But I did not, so, you know, I got loopholes. I suggest going out and doing something with the kids. Kids, because it's still for kids, isn't it, Easter? Unless you're a weird Catholic priest. I'm not going there. I'm going to be nice about this. We have to be inclusive. But no, we're going to be nice. Because it's not all people. It's just a particular person. But it's about life and renewal and beautiful things like spring coming and everyone coming out of this horrible, bleak, dark winter. It's gorgeous. I love Easter. It's one of my favorite holidays. I like Christmas and I like Easter. I like Christmas because it's gift-giving and being warm and nice and fluffy in a time when usually, because my people come from the Northern Hemisphere, in a time when it's usually piercingly cold and horrible. And the best thing you can do, I don't know if you want to hang out with your family even then, but the best thing you can do is stay home. And I'm a natural introvert, so I'm like, I am definitely staying home. And you get to eat a lot of food because it's cold. And you get presents. And you deal with your depression by eating more. So that's kind of why I like Christmas. I've given up on my nutrition this weekend. I really have, because there's just no way. There's no way I could deal with my parents and Easter and still be on supplements and protein. I'm like, fuck it. Let's just embrace the abundance. Go with it. It's not going to get better till Monday. So, you know, you can have some forgiveness in that. Because normally I'm at the gym and I'm like, I enjoy the gym. And I'm pretty clean with my eating. But Easter, you got to be a bit more forgiving. Don't stress too much, you get fat. I'm going to get fat. I've been eating shit all week. I don't give a fuck. It's like, if anyone's put a hex on me, I'm putting a get fat spell on her. It's like, thank you. I love chocolate. I do. I am such a fat kid at heart. Even off my cheat days, I eat like a 5-year-old. I eat everything. That's one of the best things about having these things. Some people go out to get drunk and shit like that. I'm sitting there at Christmas with a Quality Street and a Diet Coke, and even now I've done the Easter equivalent because, you know, I've got my fizzy drink. Oh, that was my brother's car there. I got my fizzy drink and my little bag of eggies and shit, which I'll be munching. And I just do it every time. It's like, every year I say, look, I'm just going to eat shit on the holidays, just on the special occasion holidays. And every time there's always some special mini holiday that we make up to make sure the food turns up. You know, it's like, I might be a sugar addict at this point. But at this point, you just gotta like, it's okay. I know as soon as I get back to the regular routine of whatever I do with my rations and stuff, it'll be fine. And for, you know, for nearly 40, I'm okay. I hope. Physically. Nothing's broken properly yet. So things ache and I strain muscles and stuff. But at the same time, nothing's dead. So I might be doing something okay. I don't know. So I'm hoping you guys have a lot of chocolate and shit. I don't know. Chocolate is really cheap. Well, I say Easter chocolate is not cheap. But, you know, chocolate can be quite cheap sometimes. Depending on where you go to. So you tend to get fat in those time periods anyway. At the moment, there's this big thing with Woolworths and Coles where everybody's getting, where people are getting pissed off because they jacked up the prices for gouging when the transport costs of moving the stock around happened. So when we had the prices of petrol go up with Qtons, whatever, people got pissy that the groceries had gone up as well, and it was the petrol costs that they claimed was causing the increase in the prices and the availability of the foods. People got pissy about that, and now Coles and Woolworths are in shit because they might have pumped up the prices just a little bit. So now they're dropping their prices significantly to compensate for their dumb fuck up. So everybody's sort of benefiting from getting slightly discounted foods for now until it levels out again, or the inquiries subside from the government. It's like, why you pumped up your prices? I don't know, cost of living crisis. You're creating that cost of living crisis by doing this. Oh, yeah. Whoops. So, you know, they're getting a shit for that. But on the upside, after Easter goes away, so say Easter Monday, Tuesday, all the Easter chocolate's going to be like half price. So then's a good time to stock up. If you want to continue being a fat fuck over Easter, I will. Will I? I don't know. No. Monday I've got to get back to the gym. Yeah, I don't like being portly. So I've done it before. I'm good. I'm only 5'4", so it's not a case of, oh, she's gotten a bit thick. It's like she's gone rotund. She's round. Yeah, and it always goes to your ass, doesn't it? Oh, it's horrible. I am pear-shaped. Never get fatty on my boobs. It's so annoying. I've been still waiting for them to grow in for years. Anyway, so a little bit of a tangent there. So fun stuff you can do on Easter with the kids to get them out of the house. I mean, I live in Australia, so our Easter is an autumn thing. It's still summery by English standards. It still feels like summer. You can take them out to the beach and stuff like that, be perfectly fine. No one's going to freeze to death. Whereas the English spring is still nippy. So you want to go look at the daffodils and stuff like that. Maybe go look at the flowers that are coming out, the crocuses and stuff. It's nice. I still want to do like treasure hunts with the kids, because I just gave my brother like this massive sack of hunting eggs for the girls. I'm hoping he hides them. I would love it if he hides them. But you know, you never know. I don't know how much of it. But the first thing, like my sister-in-law, because she's a bit passive-aggressive, and yes, I'm eating more chocolate. She does it every year. It's like, you know, I'm coming. You know, I'm gonna bring stuff with me. I always bring like Christmas stuff, Easter stuff, Halloween stuff. You know, I'm bringing it. Why are you getting weird about it? She's like, every year, it's like, oh, don't bring more eggs. Oh, why did you do that? Oh, I'm like, oh, you know I'm bringing it. Don't make it weird, woman. You know it's coming. But she cracks the shits as soon as she sees it. And you feel bad for doing it. I'm going, I do it not for you, because I know you're a passive aggressive bitch. I do it for the kids. So there's a whole bunch of eggs. My brother's on board. I'm like, yes, Joey, go and hide the eggs, because we didn't have Easter growing up. It was one of those weird issues. My dad didn't like religion or politics, and he would go berserker every time one of them was brought up. The only person that semi-celebrated Christmas, for example, was my granddad Bob, who used it as a manipulation tactic over my parents to get the kids on side, to make him look like the hero when the parents were the villains, because they wouldn't do Easter or Christmas. So even that was tainted for me, which is why I do Christmas now, just because I want the innocence of it. I like the enjoyment of just enjoying it, not having some person behind the scenes trying to use it as a tool to fuck over someone else, which is a bit rough, because it's not what it was designed for, I don't think. But who knows? But with Joey and me, it's like, I don't know if my sister Laura does it, because I don't know if she does, but my little sister doesn't, because she's jokes when she does something. But we'll hide, like, I'm hoping he hides the eggs and pretends the Easter Bunny comes. I'm so excited for them, because we didn't get to do it, and you live vicariously through your kids. They're not my kids technically, they're my nieces, they're my surrogate kids though. And I got 2 older nieces, and they're too old for it, and I get sad. And my sister Laura wasn't really into Easter when the kids were little as well, so my brother is. So it's nice. You got to do nice things for the kids, and they enjoy it, and it's fun festivities. You got an egg hunt, and I got the girls some Easter crafts, so they can do some stick-on egg decorations, and I got them little bunny bags, and like. So I'm more excited about Easter than they probably fucking are at this point. But you gotta have fun, and it helps you, you know, get connected with your inner child, and you know, embrace the silliness. Why are we painting eggs? Like, who fucking cares? Look at this one. It's like, it's covered in glitter. You're allowed to have the silliness, even if you don't have kids. Just enjoy the experience. I mean, I went to an Easter hat parade at one of the schools yesterday. I mean, besides it being incredibly cringe, you know, at the time you're sitting there going, oh, because the teachers were all dressed up in as bunnies and things like that. And I'm sitting there trying to reason out with my head, it's okay because we're all just trying to relax and have fun. But it was the last day of term, and I'm stressed to the max. I'm going, I just want to get on holiday. But the kids really loved it, and they had all these massive, elaborate Easter hats and stuff like that. I'm like, fucking hell, you put a lot of time into that, didn't you? And there was like a competition, and they were handing out little baby Easter eggs and stuff like that. I'm going, I fucking love this shit. And that's the reason why I fucking love doing Easter and stuff. It's not because, you know, you get a sack full of free shit. You can get a sack full of free shit as an adult. Like, it's not really free when you buy it yourself, but, you know, like junk food, whenever you fucking like. It's a special occasion of hanging out with, you know, kids that are, it's all new to them. And they haven't been sort of jaded by the adult interactions of, you know, telling them like the Easter Bunny's not real, or Santa's not real, or fairies aren't real, and shit like that. Like, I love doing Christmas because of the Elf on the Shelf. I've fucking bought into that. I know it's a bandwagon, but I'm into it. Except, like, it's all super amateur dramatics as well, you know. I'm into it. Like, this Elf on the Shelf doing weird shit, like eating the muesli bars out of the staff room and shit like that. We're taking pictures and stuff like that. The kids are bewildered by how much these fucking elves get into. And we're, as adults, just laughing our ass. Of course we know the game is a game. But we want to see their reactions because we love it. We love seeing happy kids. So we want to see them enjoy their childhood. I mean, I'm working in low SES areas. So when we finally get those kids enjoyed, relaxed, and having a good time, and you feel so much better. And it's the same with Easter. It's like, even though the school I was at yesterday had a shit ton of mullets and rat tails, and it was definitely a low SES area, and you know, the grubbiness of the kids and the realness of the kids though, but they had on these beautiful decorated Easter hats, and it looked completely conflicting, but they're beaming and they're having fun, and we're giving out these little eggs, and they don't care if it's like not fancy expensive eggs or anything like that. They're just happy to get something and join in and be there with the crowd, and they're excited for the holidays, and we're all doing Easter activities, and they fucking love it. So that's the reason why we should be doing Easter. Some people go into the like more religious side of things. I'm not Christian. I am a divinist, and I look at what they're doing, and I tend to lean more towards the paganist side of things with Easter, because I'm all about rebirth and renewal and stuff like that, but I still love to do the Christian stuff. I don't understand the hot cross buns though. Still, I still think that's some kind of sin-eating thing. You know, it's got to be attached to something. You know, like in the Green Mile, where he puts the bread on him and he eats the sin, or something like that. There were sin eaters in the medieval era where you had to, like, you ate bread and licked salt or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure this wasn't a case of tequila being involved, and very much a case of corpses being involved. But at the same time, you know, it was eating the sins of the person so they could die in peace and go to heaven. That was the whole practice. So I'm assuming that's something to do with something to do with why we're eating hot cross buns now, because we're trying to eat the sins of Jesus. Because this is the bread. What were they saying? This is the bread. The sacraments. It's like wine is his blood. The bread is his body. And definitely nothing to do with cannibalism, which is wrong. Or vampirism with the blood, which is bad, okay. But you know, it's interesting. You know, I like to see where they pulled all these different ideas from and tried to sort of glorify it as it's Christian, said the wizard in the pointy hat. It's cute. I like it. Oh dear. Is this cues? Maybe. Ooh, eagles or hawks. I'm into seeing the little offshoots of where different belief systems have crossed over and are tainting other belief systems, yet they squeeze me, I'm choking, but they but they claim like this absolute purity in these belief systems, saying we're the only one that's right and this is anything else is heresy, but at the same time they've nicked other people's stuff and included it in theirs. It's like, but this is the only way. It's like, it's not the only way. I love that you have fun trying to make it the only way, but you know, I like that. I don't mind that. But that bigoted mindset, that closed mindset, gives them a sense of security. Okay, I'm totally on a chocolate high right now, but crack it. But at the same time, it's like people need that the absolutes to make them feel secure in their reality. So if you're saying this is the only way of being and thinking, then people feel more secure and safe in their environment. It stops things like social uprising. Although it does stop people questioning things around them. And if it's a corrupt system that they exist in, then it's a problem, isn't it? Because you're just accepting shit at face value. Because they've created some kind of definite, or a perception of a definite. And people prefer the familiarity of the concrete, which has been presented to them, rather than, embracing the fear of the unknown. So it's an interesting viewpoint. It takes a lot of balls to not be a bigot, in other words. I like laughing at atheists because they and I don't want to be mean, but they are so stuck in the mindset that they are right that they themselves become bigots. They claim to diss things like the church and stuff like that for bigotry and casting out people based on differences and things like that. But they themselves do it, so it's interesting as well that way. Again, overlapping of belief systems, so it's really interesting to see what they've picked and then adapted to their own, I want to say schemata, but it's not. I don't think it is. Their own scheme of things. Paganism, the eggs. That's to do with Esther, which is rebirth and being born again and reincarnation in a sense. Even like we just had St. Patrick's Day. In paganist terms, it's a day to mourn. Because it was a case of the snakes were perceived to be the druids, pagan druids, that existed in an island before Christianity came. And St. Patrick kicked their ass and sent them out. Or something like that. It's always something aggressive in history. They might have left of their own accord, we don't know. We weren't there. Or they might have converted. We don't know, we weren't there. At the same time, it's for pagans, it's a day of grieving because it means that it's the silencing of belief system and religion. But for the Christians, it's a case of victory over the evil. And you see, they're going, well, evil it's not necessarily evil so much as it was different. You just have a problem with different, don't you? It's more Durkheim's othering, realistically. I don't understand a bigoted mindset where someone is so set in their ways that they can see no other way of thinking, of viewing, or believing, or even fathoming that there could be an alternative way of doing things. It just bugs the shit out of me. It's like, this is the only way and this is it. Having said that, I am a hypocrite, so unashamedly, because again, I just don't know. I go with what my feeling is, and my feelings can be wrong, and I change my feelings, and that's normal. That's how we get things like conflict theory. It's like when you're understandings and knowledge banks are conflicted, you tend to alter them, or you want to alter them, and whatever the stronger argument is for either side of the topic tends to be the one you adopt, hopefully, in a logical sense. If I've got conflict theory right, I might be wrong. It's been a while. It's a changing of understanding and mindsets. You've got to have the fluidity in the brain, otherwise you will just crumble, crack, and the stubbornness associated with only accepting one viewpoint and saying this is the absolute and fuck everyone else just creates conflict. It's antisocial for a start. Creates fights and it's nasty, man. Nobody wants to be excluded. No one wants to get picked on. No one wants to get lynched for being different. So we don't do it. We keep an open mind. I can see some aspects of different belief systems which can be harmful, physically harmful, and can be easily corrupted, which I don't like. But that's with all systems of belief. There's always an aspect of light and dark in every belief system. When it comes to just government stuff, for example, that's not based on religion, but that is based on, the hierarchy of power. When you talk about, absolute power corrupts absolutely, it's very true. And the more power you accumulate tends to be more wealth you accumulate as well, so you can just override any kind of established laws by paying out enough hush money to those involved, or compensating financially when you fuck someone over, which I find disgusting, because it doesn't solve the problem, it just covers it up. I don't like that at all. Which is which is why I tend to not like rich people. It's like it's not that I'm jealous that they're rich. I think there's only a certain amount of money you could use that you should have. Anything more becomes a toxifying situation. People become a bit funny in the head with too much money. They spend it on drugs and things and just crap. You sit there and think, you look at all the people like new money, what's the first thing they do? They go out and buy shit. It's like, is this a need? Is it a functioning thing? Is there any real reason for this, or are you just trying to show off? Feeling like you've achieved something by buying extra crap that you don't really need or want. But if it tells someone else that you're worth something, then we should have it, you know? It's bullshit. So you don't need that shit. If you were happy with yourself, you wouldn't have bought it. The truth is you're just insecure and you're not happy with yourself. If you've got to constantly keep proving to someone else that you've worth something by showing off wealth, leading into materialism, you're probably really insecure in yourself anyway. It's weird. But I don't know. I never had money, so I don't know. I never had it. Not any amount that would lead me to any kind of form of corruption that I could cover up, you know? So it's never been that good. What did you do with your money? I got fat. It was great. Fed my sugar addiction. Didn't you want to buy hard drugs with it? No, just more eggs. more Snickers bars. I just want to. But this is instant gratification. We shouldn't be doing this at all. This is terrible. Definitely don't eat the mini eggs. I'm eating the mini eggs. Some people do Lent. I wouldn't survive it. Lent is when you give something up that is volunteered to give up. Like, my grandma was Catholic, so we still know some of the practices of the Catholic stuff. They do Lent when they give up something that's considered sinful or against, like, it doesn't have to be huge sinful. It's like, oh, sugar's bad for you, so you give it up. And then you do it, I think it's for 30 days or something like that. You see how long you can do it. And if you're a good Catholic, you'll pull it off. I am a terrible Catholic. But I admire people who have the discipline to be able to do it. And I've got some of my kids at work at the moment who are doing Ramadan. My babies. Don't starve my babies. But it's part of their belief system. And they have a choice at a particular age, so they can choose to participate or not. I've got one of my youngest kids, I think she's 5, and she's having a go at it. So it's not forced. They can choose to, and there's certain times when even women can opt out because of lady business and stuff like that. So it's not a hardcore pressure thing. But for men, I don't think there's many excuses. I think you have to be absolutely sick or something like to not do it. But they have like that festival. Is it a festival or is it a day of feasting where it's Eid, E-I-D, and they celebrate their achievements. And I'm loving that because I'm all about that. It's like, yeah, it takes a lot of discipline to do that. But Lent is similar. You've got to give up something, whether it's sugar or smoking or something that you know is not supposed to happen, you're not supposed to be doing, and it's sort of a sign to the divine or a god in their case, because they don't recognize a female goddess, that you're appreciative of what they give you, or that you're willing to be compliant to whatever they want you to do, or they think is best for you, or something like that. There is a story behind it. So it's got to have, it's your chance to kick a habit, or at least get a bloody good start on kicking a habit. If you're stopping smoking for 30 days, chances you'll be alright to keep stopping smoking after that. So, it's a challenge, and I can see the good in it. So it's probably a good thing to keep going with that. I couldn't do it with sugar though. I'm a terrible Catholic. Probably why I'm not a Catholic. I did have the option for it, but I found it a bit too constricted, as I find with all religions, a bit too constricted. I need to have the fluidity of understanding all of them, rather than picking one and saying this is the absolute. I can't do it, man. I can't stick to one like that. I need to understand everything and see everything, so, which has its own freedoms in itself. You get the choice of picking out the best aspects of each religion or belief system, and saying, I agree with this, whilst also eliminating all the bad stuff that you don't agree with. It's like, or I, you know, I undercharge someone, or some weird stuff. You sit there and think, he's not going to pull you up on that, mate. So they're a very strict belief system with things that other people might go, that's not a sin. That's not one of the deadly sins. You're fine. You'll be fine. But they're quite, if you like the discipline, I suppose you go for it. I didn't like that level of strict. But everybody's different. Like, you can have different forms of Catholicism as well. You've got like a practicing, or you've got I think it's there's lots of different variations of it based on how far you've gone into that belief system. You've got I think I'm trying to remember now. It's like practicing is one where you're actually doing all the bits and pieces, and then you've got like performing or something like that. You know, it's where you believe it, but you're not really doing all the practices. And then, you know, you've got priest level. I don't know. I need to go into it more, and I'm very high on sugar. Why are you speeding, man? It's traffic jammy. Don't. I can. Ew. A lot of exhaust coming out of that. I can understand why people feel a sense of security in these belief systems, and with more than one person doing it, the sort of shoal of fish mentality where we all stick together because we all got commonalities is very comforting. Standing on the outside of that and saying I disagree and I'll stand up for my beliefs because of this can be considered quite scary, because safety in numbers, right? Like with the St. Patrick stuff, the pagans at the time were semi-eradicated. I think honestly they would have gone underground because they weren't willing to conform to or give up their beliefs for the sake of whoever was in power at the time. And at that time it was Christianity taking over that particular landmass. And I call it a landmass because countries are relative. Borders keep changing. The area was called Ireland. Now it's Northern Ireland. You know, it keeps changing. Actually, before that, I think it was called even something else. It was like Saxony was in England. It keeps changing. But those in power told everyone, this is what we believe now, so get involved or get out, sort of thing. You know, like, I don't want to. But it was a nice point where, you know, people just took it underground and they didn't actually get rid of it. The Druids didn't go anywhere as a collective mindset or anything like that. They just either took on the mantle of someone else's beliefs in appearance, which is what we did with the Reformation. A lot of Catholics suddenly became Protestant and then suddenly became Catholic again. It was like just blending in to get along. Not that your beliefs actually change, but you pick up different dress-ups to try and fit in and blend and camouflage. But they never go away. You can't, that's the thing, is you can't actually change someone's belief without, you know, them consenting to you doing it. I mean, they do say a person will admit to anything under torture, even torturing someone to try and get them to convert or something like that. It's bullshit, because they're just going to give you what you want to hear. Sure, I'm a Catholic. It's like, sure, I'm a Protestant. Do you actually believe it though in there? No, but I'm telling you what you want so you stop hurting me. You know, it's absurd. That's why I get weird about people that are worried about converting like other people's belief systems based on forced interaction. You know, people hate Jehovah's Witnesses, for example, because they come bug you on the weekend to your house. I've lived with that, man. I was like, I know we're bugging people. But at the time, it's like they thought they were doing a good thing. They're giving you the opportunity to understand a different point of view. It's not a bad religion. I haven't found anything in it that's nasty or anything yet. And, you know, usually you're looking for, I'm always looking, because I'm a cynic, I'm always looking for the problem. Because I want to know everything. I take everything with a good grain of salt. But I was in it from like 8 till 12, and I didn't see anything that was untoward. Everyone was very friendly, nice and fluffy, and you say, well, this is cute. But I feel a bit constricted, so I'm going to go that way. It's a very supportive mindset and community. If you want that straightforward, take what you're given mindset, it's clean, is what I can say. wanted more. I wanted to understand more different things, and they do have a slightly bigoted view on different religions, because of course most established religions will do that. They'll say this is the one we are, identify as this, and everyone else is wrong, which I don't agree with, which is why I haven't picked a religion in itself. I don't agree with disagreeing, saying I'm right, because it would be human arrogance to assume that I'm right. And it's part of the human condition to develop our sense of beliefs based on our ego and say I'm right and everyone else is wrong. But you've got to have some humility in that as well. Bear in mind that you are human. We make mistakes. We make a lot of mistakes. This is why this planet's so fucked up right now. So we made a series of fucked up mistakes that snowballed intergenerationally. We make mistakes. If you only ever need to, humble yourself, take a look outside. It's like take a look over the window. Look how people interact with each other. We fuck up significantly and frequently. I still maintain humans are the only self-annihilating species I've ever seen, and I've been looking at everything, so I'm like, how the fuck are you fuckers still here? And that's how we construct beliefs based on the concepts of good and evil, constantly fighting. It's like the only reason we're still here because some of us are good, whilst the evil ones are trying to make us self-annihilate with all their sins and vices and the sugar consumption. Ew, turn right. Ew. Heathens. But I mean, if we're going for some kind of utopian society, shouldn't we be seeking to preach tolerance among varying belief systems? So that everyone gets along. It's as long as it's not physically hurting anyone and not forcing anyone into any kind of scenario where they're in a controlled, without consent environment, you should be okay. And people given the choice to change is perfectly okay again. People change their mind. I don't do the bigotry. I don't like bigotry. She said hypocritically. But yeah. Everyone should just be nice. I've said it now. Everybody has to be nice. Go and be nice. Stop being a dick. She said it. She's right. But yeah. What else can you do at Easter? I mean, I'm just a typical fat kid. I always eat shit and stay home. I like it. Christmas, I do the same thing. I ain't doing anything that's anything out there doing social. Some people go out for drinks and hang out with their friends. I don't drink. I do eat a considerable amount of sugar. So I need a fat friend. Just come and hang out with me and get fat with me. One of my favorite Christmas things that keeps getting rolled out every year. There's this little cute little old lady, like a little grey bob, and they're interviewing her on the meme or the TikTok or whatever it is, and they're saying, "What are you doing this Christmas?" She's same thing I do every year, get fat and sassy. I'm like, I want to be her. When I grow up, I want to be her. She's awesome. She knows what she wants. It's simple. It's not greedy. She goes for it. I like it. She's got drive. Some people go away on holiday though. For example, I'd love to go away on holiday, but at the same time, we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis. I'm saving up for shit. The idea of going away in the middle of like Europe being all wars and shit right now, doesn't it seem a bit unreasonable to leave? It just doesn't make sense. It's not safe. So let's keep things within perspective. Like I've got one woman, I was talking to one of my EAs yesterday and she's saying she's going away to Fiji with her boyfriend. I'm sitting there going, it's stormy over there now, there's going to be flooding and shit like that. And she's like, yeah, but we booked the holiday, we're going to Fiji, it's going to be a shit holiday. Unless you're the kind of person who likes to stay in a hotel room and do other stuff, which I am. But, it's people go away on holidays and they stick to these plans when it's clearly going to turn tits up. But, like at the moment I'm driving down a highway heading into the Peel district. And I was seeing pictures online yesterday and everyone was bumper to bumper because they wanted to get that first flush of heading down south out of the way. They usually head up to Bunbury, Busselton, Margaret River area with some wineries and stuff like that. I'm like, if I time this well, I won't have to deal with this. And even now, I've still got heavy, dense traffic. It's not bumper to bumper, but it's still thick heading down south. I'm hoping there's not more. And I have to do it again on Sunday night heading back, and that's going to be heavy traffic because everybody wants to get back for the Monday. Or hopefully they'll come back on Monday and I won't have to deal with that shit. But traveling and holidays, like, I don't understand why people feel compelled to travel when clearly it's going to be heavy population. Don't mind me. My fizzy bubble. You ever seen that? Don't mess with the Zohan. My fizzy bubble. I love it. I love both those guys. They're awesome. But yeah, how much of your time do you spend heading towards a destination in traffic jams just to say that you got there, and then have to head back? It's like, how much time? And you get there, it's like pissing down. It's like, don't you want to just change your mind next year and just not go? Speaking as a true introvert, I don't want to. But again, some people are extroverts and social beings, and they want to go out and explore stuff. And this is the first break they get, so they go off and do that thing. I'm annoyed though with all these fucking public holidays because I'm a casual worker technically, even though I work the same hours as a full-time teacher every day. I'm designated as a casual worker because I don't have a fixed contract. Because I go to all schools, I go everywhere. I travel for work, so every day is a different job, different school. A bit like a mercenary, really. You go and hunt the money. But you know, full-time teachers, they have a public holiday. Like today, it's Easter Friday, and they just get the day off paid. Now, if you're saving up for anything that requires pay slips to be at the full amount, or the best pay slips you can get possibly, because your days are full and your hours are done, you're going to get screwed. Because these public holidays aren't showing up as paid leave or anything like that on your pay slip. So if you're applying for a car or a house, it's going to fuck up your credit. But they keep having them, and I'm trying to figure out who it actually benefits. Now, it benefits full-time workers who are under contract, yes, and anyone in higher levels of economic status who have savings. And I hate it because anyone who's like a fast food person who works at Kmart as a casual laborer, as a student, or you know, bar staff or anything like that, anyone who's under a casual contract just because they've chosen to close the businesses, or you know, in my case, the schools on the Friday, you get fucked over, and it bugs the fuck out of me. We don't get leave, we don't get sick leave or long service leave, and for the last term, for example, we've got screwed about 4 times pay-wise, and that's pissed me off a lot, because we've had things like Labor Day, and actually I think there's 7 public holidays or 12 this year, so there's more coming. I know the next one's going to be June 3rd, no, 25th is Remembrance Day or Anzac Day. Shh. Fucking phone. See, that doesn't stop. That's all the time. It's like people contacting me about work. It's Anzac Day, I think 25th, and then June 3rd's another one. So if at any point you're trying to get a pay slip, and our pay slips go over 2 weeks, so we're trying to make those 2 weeks look good, full pay, working every day, it gets fucked over. So to anyone who's trying to get a car loan or a home loan, your pay slip doesn't look as good as it could, and so that might put a dent on your ability to borrow money or something like that. But they don't take that into account. They just think, it's Easter Friday, let's all take a day off. It's like, that's fine, your ass is covered financially, our ass isn't. What the fuck? What if we haven't had the amount of hours previously able to cover our needs for over this one day where my rent isn't covered and stuff like that? But as long as we get the day off, it's like, yay, we can sit and scream internally about how we can't pay our bills. So that bugs the shit out of me. It's like there must be some kind of government initiative where people who are on casual pay still get that day covered, because it sets you back. It does. And given, like, we're already fucked financially because of the cost of living, people are trying to scrape together their hours and their days just to cover things like bills and, you know, basic necessities birthday, and the other is his extra birthday because apparently we need to celebrate him twice for being a rich fucker. I don't understand it whilst I'm going broke, but you know, we're just happy you're here once again. Yay. Can we please eat food this time? No, we got to take a day off. Fuck. Okay, so I can understand why casual workers would get pissy about that. It used to be some kind of prestige thing, and we were all grateful for these leaders being in power, and we're going to celebrate that they're doing a good job and stuff like that. But in the cost of living crisis, if I get one more rich arsehole stand up and say, I need you to celebrate my birthday by losing a day's pay, I would not be surprised if there was a conflict of interest amongst your people. Don't be dumb. It's not my birthday we're celebrating. I don't get a free extra day's pay because it's my birthday, so why are we celebrating your birthday? Doesn't make sense, you know? It's crazy. It's crazy. And in a sense, it's shitting on your own people as well. So Easter, even though a lot of people like to celebrate it, if you're full-time and your ass is covered financially by your business or your department or the government, you're fine. But anyone who's casual worker gets fucked. And it happens a lot. And someone will turn around and say, well, why don't you just not do casual work? It's like, well, the work isn't fucking there, is it? So some people... And there was a push for casual workers. Like a few years ago, there was a push for, particularly in the education department, to break permanency into contracts that were yearly. And then it went into contracts that were yearly but were by a loading, where you would do 3 out of the 5 days at one school. Or, you know, some ridiculous amount like that. So you could work at 2 different schools just trying to make up the full pay. That was they supposed it that it was a scenario where people wanted more free time. I'm sitting there thinking, if you've got a mortgage and a family, you don't want the free time, you want the pay. Don't be stupid. Who are these people with mortgages and families who are like, oh, you know, work-life balance will just take 3 days off because I don't feel like it? It's like, who are you selling this to? Because most teachers, for example, are family people. The younger ones might be single or in a relationship, at the same time they're heading towards the stability of trying to get their shit and house and family and everything started. So the whole structure of the employment sector in the education department at the very least is fucked. The contracts for full-time permanency just aren't there, and it is a challenge to get permanency as well, to get a position where you can guarantee it for life. You're fucking over your own staff, and now it's hard for them to find relief teachers because they've all opted out. People like me, it's like, I'm a mercer. I don't mind going school to school. I take whatever pay I can get. I enjoy the hunt. Let's put it that way. I like the fight. It's more interesting for me, and I get to see more kids and deal with their pastoral care side of things. But for anyone who's looking for the more established, I need to be in a single school for a good couple of years so I can raise my family, you're fucking them. You're fucking them over. And there's just not enough contracts going around. So it's good pay when you can get it. And we're churning out the next generation of politicians and staff and teachers and workers and everyone. And we're sitting there going, there's not enough people to want to do it at this point, because you're taking the deal which was meant to be a safe deal. It's like, the world will always need teachers. They'll always need accountants. They'll always need, doctors. These basic jobs that are deemed to be the stable jobs. And you're fucking them over and removing access to the stability of the situation. People are just going to opt out. They're going, I'm not doing this. And it's a high-stress job. So, why would you cut the legs out from underneath yourself in a bid to make yourself look good? You've got more flexible time now. It's like, no, we've got less opportunities and less pay, and we're not covered. You fucked us. So, like when COVID went down and they started closing the schools, a lot of the relief staff just found different jobs. They either retired, significant amount of us were old, because we're retired teachers, we don't have the full-time load, so we come back and we do relief. Every now and again we do a couple of days. Those people with the threat of infection retired. They just went, we're not doing this, we don't want to die. On top of that, you had a bunch of people who were around about my age, but they had families and mortgages and they needed that stability. They went, fuck this, I'll get a job somewhere else because I need the money. You can't just close schools when we need the money. And they fucked off. So you'll have a lot of graduate teachers now who are taking up full-time positions that the family people should have taken. And, you know, it's a fucked up situation because they haven't got the experience. They don't know what they're doing. From what teachers are left, older teachers, maybe in their 50s or so, with the experience, the understanding, the younger teachers are looking up to, and they're in a different mindset, and they want to do their own thing, and they don't understand what's going on. The teachers who are in their 50s are on the way up because they're like, I'm tired, I'm old, I've been doing this for fuck knows how long, I don't want to stay here, and I'm not going to help anyone or give advice. And the young teachers in their early 20s are like, what do I do? And then you get me coming in, and nothing's prepared. And I'm sitting there going, I don't need this stress. I could just find a different job. But it's the government fucking over the workers again. And you sit there and think, do you want us here or not? Why are you not paying us the way we need to be paid in order to sufficiently do our job? And that's just in the pay scheme of things. I can't imagine what it is in for like hospitality and bar staff and stuff like that. It would be a fucking nightmare every time you think you're getting a little bit further, because they get paid less than us. Any position you think you've got, any footing financially, you just get hacked out from underneath you, because it's such a vulnerable choice of employment, because you can't just get fired. My brother was a barman at one point. He got dismissed. It was unfair dismissal, and he took his employer to court. But that was his job gone in a heartbeat. That was when he was in his early 20s. He was a barman. He did the drinks and stuff. He knows how to make cocktails and stuff. I'm going, that's cool, Joey. But then he became a teacher. A little bit more solid job. So I know what kind of experiences he was facing. He used to work at a place called Marrakesh, in a town I used to work in. It was like a leisure inn. It was not a good bar. It was not a good bar. He was a very brave, chill guy for working there. I'm like, I admire your balls in a weird way, but you know, I would not take a job like that. It doesn't feel safe to me. I went straight into like factory work and stuff like that in my filler years. I did a lot of good stuff. I did weird stuff. I worked on plantations and shit. A lot of weird stuff. And it was interesting to me because it was a new experience. But at the same time, you can't just, you know, keep forcing these fucking days off. We should have at least an option to work if we want to. We're not covered in any way. I know I'm trying to get as much money together as possible for my projects, and that's not going to be a consistent thing in the future. It's just for now. But it's fucking people over. It's like, I don't understand. That's admin fucking up. That's government admin fucking up. So, I don't know. They cover it up and say, oh, it's a religious holiday. It's not a fucking religious holiday. You're covered to have your religious holiday. Everyone else who needs the money, who needs the hours, is getting fucked. So, rich people privilege. Fuck you. I don't know. I go on to rants about things. I don't know. Sometimes I'm talking out my ass. Ooh, Turkish delight. Love me some Turkish delight. I don't know. What is Easter about? Feed your people. And don't you dare say that to me cake, because we can't afford it. Fuck you. She never said that, by the way. Marie Antoinette never said that. The culture she came from, which was the Germanic Austrian side of things, are actually a very charitable royal house, the one she came from. And they were all about feeding the poor and stuff like that. The fact that she went to the French court of Versailles, they were the bastards. They were the ones that hoarded all the wealth and said, fuck the poor. Damn the proletariat. We have stockings and wigs. So she would have never have said that. That's not the way she was raised. There's a funny little glitch in history where people assume that. And it was all part of propaganda spread by the broke-ass proletariat people in order to propagate insurgency among the lower classes. The serfs, if you want to go into Russian terms. I think they were Russians, but it was a serfdom. But yeah, history is very interesting. The way people present it. Often you have to go back and scrape through the past and actually find what the fuck they were talking about, rather than just take it on face value. There's a lot of cycles that repeat itself. So if you look for the cycles, you can find the patterns and see where things are going for the future, but nobody wants to do it. I love doing it. I love history. Let's go back to Easter. Easter, rebirth, mythology, the underworld. Hades? No. Persephone? That's what it was meant to be, like in old Greek myths. It was meant to be the time when Persephone could come back to the surface of the earth from the underground and bring life and growth and everything like that. She could go see her mom. I think it was Demeter. I think. I'm terrible with names. But it meant that the world started again. And life came back and the ice and the snow was gone. And the earth softened and we could grow things again and people were fine. And once we got out of the bitter cold, everything was going to be okay. And that's why we bring life forth. In paganist terms. Now you can go two ways with paganist terms. Some people are using the pagan umbrella as a means to go and get shit-faced and fuck around. I don't agree with that. That's to me, it takes away from the sanctity of the situation. My version of paganism is more about the actual understanding of the land and the earth and the reproductive cycles of nature. What I've taken away from paganism. Although I'm not technically a pagan, I do have elements of it. The whores tend to want to just fuck around. Oh, it's a sex festival. It's like, no, whore, that's just you pissing off everyone actually who is here for serious reasons. Get out of my festival, man. You didn't even bring snacks. Fuck off. But to understand the cycles of the earth and see how we link into the nature of the situation. And we all are connected. It's a symbiotic relationship. Even women have the cycles of the moon to thank for their periods and things like that. So we have to understand that and how we're linked into nature around us. The seasons dictate our behaviors, our situations. You get seasonal depression and things like that because of the earth starting to quieten down and go into winter and things like that. People go a bit crazy with full moons and stuff like that. That is true. At the moment I'm looking at astrological charts and events in that side of things. Technically speaking. Sounds very technical. It is. And the stars and shit. And the astrological stuff. Grain of salt. Gotta take everything with a grain of salt. And I'm looking at all these patterns and things. I'm going, yeah, there is some influence there. I can see that. I don't take it absolutely seriously because I do think it is all speculative still. But it's nice to have a look at and go, I can see the patterns and mirror in there. It's nice to know and understand. And it does help me understand certain things. It's never gospel. But it's nice to understand. And I'm looking at how the stars in that line. Like we've just had new moon in Aries. Now Aries rules my love planet. I'm a fiery lover, I'm afraid, yes. I'm all in and I'm fighting for everything, unfortunately, and I tend to fight for losers at this point, so I'm a little bit disappointed in myself. My perfectionist streak is not great. I'm all in and I break myself in the process. I've got to stop doing that. But, you know, anyone who's got like an Aries kind of, the god of, Mars is the god of war, yes? We can all agree to that. So it rules the planet Aries, or the sign Aries, I should say. These are the fighters of the zodiac. Second comes like Leo, who's the natural leader, ruler, all the fire signs. Whereas like Sagittarius is meant to be like the intellectual of the, oh, there's my turn off. The intellectual of the fire signs. Leo is a fixed sign like Taurus, that's me. Aries, I think there's like cardinal or something like that. But generally, generally it's an aggressive, it's the most aggressive potentially sign. So anyone who's like Aries tends to be feisty, and they have their place. They're good people. They'll get to the point and they don't fuck around. I love those people, but they can be a little bit tactless and argumentative when they want to be because they feel they're right, and it's all ego extension, assuming that they're right. But you know, I'm a Taurus, so I'm pretty earthy. I chill. It's like I love passionately because I've got that fire in me for my love planet. But at the same time, when it comes to general surrounds, I'm slow and steady, and I like to plod along. I don't like to. It depends what it is. If it's a project where I'm in my masculine state, I tend to be a bit fiery and I get the shit done. If I'm in my feminine state, I'm slower, I'm steady, I'm soft. So I've got a duality in that. thanks to my birth chart and all that extra shit. If you go into the esoteric side of things, not everyone does. Someone just says, "Oh, you got trauma." I'm like, that could be right. I'm not ruling it out. But we had the Aries full moon. Now, all come in sense of esoteric terms. All things come to fruition in a full moon. So anything you've been manifesting at the start with the empty moon, which is just the black sky, you start wishing at that point, and hopefully by the time it gets to a full moon, you're getting what you want. If it's the right thing in terms of, you know, the divine and the universe, and everybody's agreeing with this should happen, then okay, you might get what you want. If you don't get what you want, it's usually the case of the things went right at the time, or you're not quite where you need to be to get that. So never take it personally. It's like there's people that pray and pray and pray and pray, and you sit there and think, yeah, but are you doing it for the right reasons? Is the outcome going to be okay and ethical? Otherwise, you're not going to get what you want, are you? It's like these people that pray to be rich. It's like, yeah, but what are you going to do with the money once you get rich? Are you just going to hoard it and be a dick? It's like, they're not going to give it to you if you're just asshole like that. They don't promote asshole tendencies. They tend to dampen them down with karma. So, you know, don't get excited. If it's not right, it's not right. They're not going to give it to you. But the Aries moon is like, we just had a full moon and everybody's like all fired up and stuff, and we have like, we're in the middle of a retrograde and stuff like that, and retrogrades are meant to put everyone backwards and slow them down and make them think about what they're doing rather than just rushing ahead and making actions, which is why you should never make new plans during retrograde. There's a time for pondering. You're meant to think about, why am I doing this? Is it worth it? Can I do this a bit better? And when we speed up again, then it's going to work better for you. It'll be easier. So the whole point of Aries, I think, was to contemplate what relationships you have. Are they worth maintaining and stuff like that? Now, I was listening to the argument that was going on, because I live on my own. I'm having fun. It's nice, it's quiet. I'm in constant hermit mode as soon as I get off work. I'm like, yes, quiet. But I was listening at 2 o'clock in the morning to this couple next door that were having the biggest fight about someone's family and the relationships. I'm sitting there going, oh my god, it's just like the new moon. I'm sitting there going, the alignments. But they were having an argument, and I'm sitting there, it's been dead quiet for months from these people, and then suddenly when this new moon turns up with Aries and the fiery energy and the arguments and the passion that goes with the Aries sign, and I'm sitting there going, oh, the planets lined up. Oh, I hope you're okay. But oh, the planets lined up. I was excited for it to happen. I'm like, finally, things happening. And I hope they sorted it out, because it sounded pretty aggressive. But you know, it's like things like that do tend to make sense. There are patterns in nature and stuff like that where we're subject to alignments. Even if it's just basic weather, everybody feels a bit shitty in rainy weather, don't they? What we've got to be aware of and keep an open mind towards, and that's my version of sort of paganism, to understand what the surrounds around us affect us in, and can we help promote more positive, constructive view towards, you know, living holistically amongst nature rather than trying to, you know, manipulate it to suit us only. Fuck all plants and stuff like that, and that lines up with my 4 purposes of life anyway, which is look after your planet, look after the animals, look after other people, and then look after yourself. It all ties in interconnectively. Ooh, we're early. But you know, it's that version of things. I don't understand this where people just think, oh, it's an excuse to go out and get laid and have sex rituals and stuff like that. So I'm not into that, man. That's not right. That's just me being a hoe. There is an element of fertility, but you don't go out and emotionally fuck people over doing that. No, you gotta have nice stuff. It's gotta be love. It's gotta be unified love that promotes this. It's not just a case of your body is convenient, this is gonna work for me. So there is still an element of that. People like to pervert certain things to make them fit into what they want to get out of someone, and I don't understand that. I don't like that. It's nasty. It's mean. And it always backfires. It's like these people that cast love magic spells and stuff like that. First of all, you don't know why you are not together properly. Clearly, if you're not together, you've broken up, there's clearly a reason why you've broken up. You're not compatible. You just can't deal with that shit. So they'll like cast love spells if you're into it. Not everyone's into it. To try and force this person to come back to them. First of all, that goes against the principles of free will. That will backfire, and you will pay a heavy karmic backfire. debt you've created. You will have your free will taken away. Maybe it will be something absolutely horrible. Who knows? I hope not, because that's kind of gross. But if it's like sex magic to lure someone in, like if you've cheated on someone and they've broken up with you because you've shown that you're an asshole, if they've left because you've cheated on them, and then you cast some kind of fucking love spell, which you assume is going to work, and if it does work, the person does come back. But the reason you want them to come back is so you can keep using them and then cheat on them again. And of course, it's going to backfire. They're going to leave again. They're not coming back. You know, how many times will this person keep coming back? But the debt you're accumulating for yourself just so you can say you have this person under your control is ridiculous. You will have so much bad luck. The Wheel of Fortune will squish you, basically. You'll be stuck underneath that fucking thing for God knows how long until you stop doing those things. Oh, bird. It was a Dali, which is the Noongar word for 28. The English word is the 28, lorikeet, but the Aboriginals call them Dalis, which is nice. I like it. I haven't seen any Yongas yet, kangaroos. Anyway, so you don't want to get into that horrible, controlling, manipulative side of the energetic manipulation, because it will always backfire. And some people see paganism as a form of witchcraft. Now, witchcraft has got several facets to it. You don't have to be like a dark witch. Some people choose the dark witch because it's been, I say romanticized, but it's been deemingly sexified. Some people think, oh, I'm a dark witch, I'm sexy. And you see, you think, first of all, you are dealing with things like death magic, and it will hurt when it comes back to bite you in the arse. That's part of your life you're giving up. Death magic, blood magic, forced, free will, all that kind of shit. And they think, oh, it's the most powerful. It's not. The most powerful you will ever get is love. And that comes not through manipulation and spell work. It's free will. You can't fuck around with that. It doesn't work. That was one of the divine gifts we were given, same as free will, which is the only thing we really have that is free. Anyway, I could go into I love magic. I love that it happens on its own and you don't have to do anything about it. I just love it. Anyway, I love nature magic because I love flowers. I'm terrible. I'm so high on sugar right now. Anyway, so this is my off day. I've got no mission to go to. I'm just here for the fun. I'm just faffing. But you know, you sit there and you think, like, I love nature magic and I love making things grow. I grew up with like Don Bluth, Troll in Central Park movies and Fern Gully, man. I was like, I fucking want to make some trees grow by sticking my hands on them, man. Look at this fucking fairy. I grew up with Shirley Barber paintings of fairies and stuff like that, and unicorns and everything. That's what I grew up with. I had bed sheets with fairies on them and stuff. I'm like, I've been in the not Gnostic, but like pagan fairy fae kind of things for a very long time. Even when we were, you know, going to the Kingdom Hall to do Jehovah's Witness stuff, we still have fairies and stuff. But that's my side of magic I love. Growing up now, it's more like an energetic feeling and manipulation. But it still has that ethical side to things. You don't want to fuck with someone's energy. You don't, because it's nasty and it's horrible, and you want to keep your conscience clean and make sure when you get to the end of things and they come to weigh your heart against that feather, that it's not heavy. You want to know that you've done the ethical thing, that was fair. And you know, I get pissy when some people do all the dark magic and stuff. If you believe it, of course, some people are like, that's not real. And I'm like, it's up to the person. But, you know, some people are real. Some people just Harry Pottering this. And I'm like, but, you know, you want to make sure that even whatever you do in your belief system, that it's ethical, not harming someone. And that could be just basic religions, or it could be government, it could be atheist kind of mindsets, that just with the basic way you treat people ethically. You don't want to be an arsehole. You could be an atheist and still be an arsehole. You could be an atheist and still be a really nice person. Look at Ricky Gervais, he's lovely. I mean, he has a dig at people, but he's gorgeous. He's a devout atheist, so but that's the thing, it's like you don't want to create intolerance and tension amongst people for the sake of extending your ego and saying, I'm right. I'm going to pause there a sec, because my mum's house is right up there and I'm early. I'm on the long driveway. I'm like, I'm going to take my time. But it's, you know, so maybe Easter should be more about inclusivity than absolutely isolating yourself in a belief system and saying, I'm absolutely right and this is one way to do things. Because you just don't know. No one knows, and we'll never know until we get there for sure. And even then, it's like, do you think he or she or they are really going to be that pissy about whether you got it right with your human error in the 3D? No one's going to crack the shits when you get there. Just let it go. Most things that are considered sins at this point is just it's an attempt to keep you from getting sick or dying early or stuff like that. You know, and I've discussed that already before. It's like most things that are considered sins are just common sense stuff that you wouldn't do anyway because you know how it ends. And if we're all grown adults here, we're not going to do the bad stuff anyway, are we? We're going to try not to, because it always ends wrong. People get hurt physically, emotionally, psychologically, for the sake of putting yourself first instead of, you know, being considerate of others. Which ultimately we should be considerate of others. And it would just negate a whole world of negativity at this point if we start just thinking about other people other than ourselves. Some fuckers cannot put other people first. I don't know how they don't. I don't know how they're still fucking alive. Because we live in a community and society where everybody needs to interact and coexist with each other. I mean, can you imagine if one berserker went off and decided, I don't like any of your ideas, I'm just going to go around hurting people and eliminating people and stuff like that? It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. You'd wipe out a whole chunk of people. It'd be ridiculous. It's horrible. And no, don't do it. But all for the sake of saying I'm right and everyone else is wrong. It's stupid. I don't know. I want Easter to be a nice fluffy thing. So is it not even or something that, you know, wanting some nice stuff. And everybody's either broke at the moment or sick or facing stress or you know, like there's weird shit going on in Europe and war-wise, and you're just sitting there in the Middle East as well. And you're sitting there thinking, I thought we were all grown-ups here. I was like, I know a lot of us have got issues, but are there issues this much that we need to perpetuate this kind of shit in a horrible way? Can't you just sit down and shut up? Fucking relax, dude. Chill, dude, chill. That's to say that a lot of people in power, for example, have a lot of immaturity, that they would allow this kind of shit to, first of all, either kick off from their side or perpetuate from someone else's. It's a lack of maturity, even in areas of governance. I still maintain that any war is a failure of leadership. You're not looking after your people at all, because you're risking it by someone else coming in to potentially kill them or hurt them, or just you're not leading. You're failing to lead by risking your people. And when all your people are gone because you decided to conduct yourself in some warlike state, who's left to worship you? It's like, what, you on your own? It's like, they don't see the long-term view of things. They just look at the instant, I'm right, everyone's wrong, and I'll sacrifice all you fuckers to do it for me. You know, it's to prove that I'm right. So I don't like that. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic Easter. I've still got a shit tin of chocolate, which I'm gonna now hand over to my mum probably, or my dad, whoever will eat it. I'll just eat it. I'm hoping you have a fantastic Easter. Take it easy if you go outside. In social terms, be safe. We've still got COVID running around. We've still got crazies running around, drunks running around. Ideally, I would rather be inside, right? Before I was so rudely cut off by my own phone, I hope you have a fantastic Easter. Take it easy if you're going outside. If you're drinking, be careful. Don't let anyone mess you around when you go out drinking. If you're staying indoors, probably the best option at this point. Take it easy. I mean, have a fantastic Easter. It's about relaxation and taking a break, even if we're not getting paid for it. So ideally, you want to be doing it, you know, in a way that's comfortable, right? Have a great one, guys. I hope you have a better Easter than me at this point, but, you know, needs must when the devil shits in your coffee. Take it easy, okay?